I just finished my profit and loss for last year, and I'm going to share my numbers with you because I think that transparency is key if you want to grow as a small business. If you're new here, hi, my name's Simpson, and I'm here to help you maximize your time and talents as a small business owner. So my primary six-figure earning business is as a bridal beauty company. What this means is that we provide hair and makeup services on your wedding day and other special events such as proms, birthdays, dates, you name it. We also offer other services like lash lift and tints, brow lamination, facial waxing and brow tinting, and sell a couple products in the studio as well. But the main bread and butter of our business is the wedding side. So what I'm going to be sharing with you today is my costs or my expenses for running this business. I'm going to break this down for you by category and the percentage of my gross revenue that went towards that category. And I'm also going to get specific about some of the monthly or yearly expenses. So last year we grossed $168,000, and this includes everything. So this is all revenue that we brought in, which does include all of the expenses that we have to pay out, as well as people that we are paying to help work for the weddings. This number also includes some revenue that we have to put towards the following year or 2 years later, because as a wedding company, we do hold on to payments longer than just the calendar year we're in, because we do accept retainer fees to retain a date. So I'm going to be getting specific about the categories that I use in my specific business, but a lot of this can kind of be carried over to business in general and a lot of general expenses that you may incur. The first category is cost of goods sold. So cost of goods sold in my business basically means what do I have to purchase in terms of makeup, hair care, skin care, anything that I have to physically use on a client to get the end result of the service that they're paying for. So last year, 2.31% of my income went towards this category, or about $3,900. With makeup, the nice thing is things like powders last longer. They actually last a few years. So unless you need to replace it because you're using it a lot, there are some products that you don't have to replace every single year. I tend to try to focus on the products that I am using like water, like mascara and airbrush foundation and fake lashes and all of that kind of stuff. And it's like a revolving door of purchasing. And of course, I like to try a handful of new products a year, but I also like to just stay with what I know works. The next category is office expense. So office expense can be anything from printer ink to pens to my Google email address that I pay for. This category was also used for furnishing my studio that I got last year. I use a team calendar for scheduling that I pay for. The CRM that I use to keep everything organized. Office expense tends to be like an overarching category for a lot of things. So this category was responsible for 6.11% of my revenue, and that equates to about $10,300. So like I said, I actually did get a new studio space last year, which is also why that category is probably a little bit larger than it would be in other years. The next category is legal and professional fees. So these are things like an accountant, an attorney, or my financial business coach. P.S. If you're curious how a financial business coach can help you increase your revenue in your business, check the card up above or the link down below. That's actually the last video I did, and I really recommend giving it a watch. So this category is responsible for 3.15% of my revenue, or about $5,300. And stay tuned because I'll be talking about how important a small business attorney is in my next video. The next category is rent and insurance. So like I said, I do have a studio space where clients come to have their appointments done. I also pay for liability insurance, which is super important in our industry. So this category was responsible for 9.16% of revenue, or about $15,400. Now, this category would probably be closer to 7.37% in coming years. I did have to put down a security deposit, and they also took 1 month extra rent just early because of when I paid. So this would be slightly less in the ordinary year. Followed up with that is utilities. So utilities include anything from electric, gas, phone, internet, water, all of that good stuff. So I primarily pay for electric, phone, and internet. My heated water is through the electric at the studio, and my AC and heat are through those units that you put at the top of the wall. So that also is electric. So this category is responsible for 1.76%, or almost $3,000 of the revenue. I did actually make a conscious decision to switch from Verizon to AT&T last year, towards the end of last year, because not only when we moved houses, we realized that Verizon just wasn't the best service around here, but it was also cheaper for the exact same thing and the same service that we already needed. So that's definitely something to look into as a business owner, is just where are the little places that you can cut expenses. Travel and meals only accounted for 0.08%, and this is only a handful of restaurants and parking meters and things like that throughout the year. I really don't account for a ton of travel stuff because I don't go on destination weddings or anything like that, and this is not including mileage. Mileage is calculated separately. And for me, it's more worth it to take my mileage on my taxes rather than my car repairs. Definitely talk to your CPA. I am not a financial advisor or CPA of any kind, and I'm learning every day. But from my knowledge, you can only take one or the other when it comes to travel expenses in your business. Advertising was responsible for 3.25%, or about $5,500 in the business. So this includes things like Facebook ads. I also use Tailwind, which is a service to help repin my pins on Pinterest. This also included a couple brand photo shoots that I did to have some updated content regarding me and the studio and all that kind of stuff. It also includes a membership on The Knot, which is a popular wedding website. It also includes my email newsletter list, which you have to pay monthly. And so now we're going to get into the top 3 categories where I spend the most. So the first is taxes. Taxes are so much fun, guys. As a small business, it is extraordinarily painful how much you pay in taxes. And living in Connecticut, personally, also not great. It's not a great state for taxes, but you gotta do it. So I ended up putting 11.64% aside, or about $19,600, to various taxes. So this includes personal property tax, payroll taxes, sales tax, all of the kind of taxes that you could imagine. If you're not familiar with personal property tax, by the way, I learned last year that apparently not every state has personal property tax. So if you live somewhere that doesn't, congratulations, that's amazing. Essentially what it is it taxes you on the things that you have in your business space. So now that I have a beauty studio and I have furniture and the computer that I use for business and the phone I use for business and all those kind of things, they essentially can tax you for years on those products, even though you already paid sales tax, you already pay all these other miscellaneous business taxes. It is quite interesting and painful. But again, legally you have to do it. So basically they take it like you pay a certain percentage of what it's depreciated per year, and that's how it works. Next category is labor. So this is people who work for me to do hair and makeup services. This was 34.32%, or almost $58,000. So this is obviously going to be quite a substantial category of an expense for me, because we are a bridal hair and makeup team. So what that means is there's multiple people out on different weddings on the same day, or on a large wedding. We even had a wedding last year that there were 6 artists at the same time. And so that adds up. So that is definitely my biggest expense. And honestly, I'm okay with it, because if it wasn't for these people, my business would not be as substantial as it is. This number is also very interesting because it can fluctuate from year to year. So that can be based on how much the people are getting paid per wedding, and it can also fluctuate based on how many weddings I'm doing. So last year, I worked personally as many weddings as I possibly could. So I just was like at wedding after wedding after wedding. So if I were to pull back and I work less weddings, that category can go from 34% to 50%. Who knows? So that is definitely something I try to keep tabs on from year to year and see, okay, what kind of revenue do I need to be able to keep paying myself and my personal bills? But how much do I actually physically want to work on weddings as well? Because last year was quite draining. I don't know if I'd want to do that many weddings myself personally in a year again. It was kind of a catch-up year after COVID, but it's just very interesting to see how numbers can fluctuate in business. The last category is my payroll. So this is what I take personally from the business to pay personal expenses and make a living, because this, at the end of the day, this career is my full-time career, and this is how I make a living as well. So this category was responsible for 26.67%, or about $45,000. I think it's really important to be transparent about this category in particular to show you that, one, I'm not rolling in it by any means. I definitely have a six-figure business that I'm super proud of and is growing and is consistent, that I love working in every day. But I'm also not a millionaire when it comes to the personal side. However, it shows you that I can make a pretty average income from my full-time business. If anything, there is no ceiling. You can go as high as you want in business, and that's the amazing part. Now, obviously, easier said than done. A lot of work goes into that, and every year might fluctuate a bit. But I just want to show you that, hey, yeah, realistically, I was able to pull out $45,000 from my business last year to support me and my family. And that's just a really good feeling. It's a really good feeling that not only was I able to pay such a substantial amount to people that help grow my business and support my business, but that I could also pay myself a living wage. So that is the real deal breakdown of my expenses as a bridal beauty business owner last year. Of course, like I said, they fluctuate from year to year, and honestly, I'd be happy to do another one of these next year to see how it differs. I think that could be really helpful for both me and you. So let me know if you'd like to see that in the future. I'm also curious if you guys would like to see percentage-wise a breakdown of the streams of income that I have within this business in particular, and see kind of what that looks like. So let me know if you want to see that in the comments down below. Psst.